Hello, dear listener, welcome. Settle in, find your most comfortable spot, and let the gentle hum of contemplation lull you into a state of profound peace. Tonight, we journey not just through a story, but through the very fabric of time itself, exploring the intricate threads of possibility and consequence that weave together existence. Our focus for this evening is a fascinating cinematic exploration from 1979, a film that dared to ask profound questions about human nature, progress, and the relentless march of the clock, time after time. Imagine, if you will, the bustling, gaslit streets of London in 1893. A world on the cusp of immense change, yet still firmly rooted in Victorian sensibilities. Here we find our protagonist, a man whose mind was already racing ahead, dreaming of futures yet to unfold, Herbert George Wells, the celebrated British author, a visionary whose literary creations would ignite the imaginations of generations to come. In his mind, the future was not merely a passage of time, but a destination, a canvas upon which humanity would paint its greatest triumphs. He envisioned an enlightened socialist utopia, a world where the struggles and injustices of his era would have been left far behind. And in this fertile ground of imagination and intellect, Wells brought forth a creation that transcended mere fiction, a working time machine. Picture it, a contraption of gleaming brass, intricate gears, and pulsating energies, standing proudly in his laboratory. He proudly unveils this marvel to his skeptical dinner guests, their eyes wide with a mix of disbelief and fascination. He explains its workings with the meticulous detail of a true inventor, a blend of scientific theory and hopeful speculation. He speaks of a non-return key, a vital component that acts as a temporal anchor, ensuring the machine remains at its chosen destination, preventing it from capriciously snapping back to its point of origin. And then there's the vaporizing equalizer, a truly enigmatic device designed to keep the traveler and the machine on equal terms. One might ponder the profound implications of such a mechanism. Does it synchronize the traveler's molecular structure with the temporal flow of the destination? Does it prevent the very fabric of one's being from unraveling amidst the dizzying currents of time travel? It suggests a delicate balance, a scientific marvel that ensures not just passage, but coherence across the temporal divide. But the serene atmosphere of intellectual discourse and scientific wonder is abruptly shattered. The harsh realities of 1893 London come crashing in as police constables arrive, their presence a stark reminder of the shadows that lurk beneath the city's surface. They are searching for a monster, a name that sends shivers down the spine of every Londoner, Jack the Ripper. The tension in Wells's home thickens, and then, a horrifying discovery, a bag containing blood-stained gloves, belonging to none other than Wells's esteemed friend, John Leslie Stevenson, a respected surgeon. The pieces of a gruesome puzzle click into place with terrifying finality. Stevenson, the calm, intelligent man they knew, is the infamous killer. In a frantic race against time, Wells rushes to his laboratory, his heart pounding with a mixture of disbelief and dread. But it's too late. The time machine is gone. Stevenson, cornered and exposed, has seized the ultimate escape route, not just from the law, but from his own time. He has fled to the future. Yet, in his haste, a crucial detail is overlooked. He forgets the non-return key, that vital temporal anchor. And so, with a shimmering displacement of air, the magnificent machine, having completed its initial journey, automatically reappears in 1893, a silent, blinking beacon of temporal mischief. This momentary lapse, this forgotten key, provides Wells with a window of opportunity, a moral imperative that he cannot ignore. His friend, his monster, has unleashed himself upon an unsuspecting future. Wells, the visionary of utopia, must now become the reluctant hunter. He sets the machine for November 5, 1979, and plunges himself into the unknown, chasing not just a man, but the very perversion of his own ideals. Imagine the disorientation, the sensory overload, as Wells materializes in San Francisco in 1979. The roar of combustion engines, the cacophony of modern music, the dazzling, alien glow of neon lights and electronic displays. This is not the clean, ordered, enlightened socialist utopia he had so vividly imagined. Instead, he finds a world permeated by warfare, greed, and violence. His vision of human progress, of moral evolution marching hand in hand with technological advancement, is brutally shattered. The very fabric of his idealism begins to fray. This moment is deeply philosophical, isn't it? It forces us to confront the question of true progress. Is it merely the accumulation of new technologies, faster machines, more efficient systems? Or does it demand a corresponding evolution in human consciousness, in our capacity for empathy, for justice, for peace? Wells, a man whose entire worldview was predicated on the belief in humanity's innate goodness and its eventual triumph over its baser instincts, is confronted with a stark, unsettling truth: perhaps the more things change, the more they remain human. He also learns of a chilling pattern, a series of unsolved murders, all of women, eerily reminiscent of the atrocities he had left behind in Victorian London. The Ripper's shadow has found a new stage. In this strange new world, Wells grapples with the mundane challenges of temporal displacement. His anachronistic British currency is useless. He must adapt, must navigate this bewildering landscape. He exchanges his antique money for American dollars, a small victory in a world that feels overwhelmingly alien. Hungry, he enters a McDonald's, a shrine to fast consumption, alternately puzzled by its efficiency and delighted by its offerings. This moment of simple pleasure highlights the profound cultural shift he's experiencing, a testament to the sheer scale of change in just 90 years. Reasoning that Stevenson, too, would need to exchange his outdated currency, Wells embarks on a meticulous, almost Sherlockian search, visiting various banks. It is at the Chartered Bank of London that destiny intervenes, in the form of Amy Robbins, a vibrant, intelligent employee. She remembers Stevenson, having directed him to the Hyatt Regency Hotel. Wells, despite the urgency of his mission, finds himself captivated by Amy's spirit, a spark of human connection in his bewildering new reality. Smitten, she gives him her card, a simple gesture that will weave their lives together in an unexpected dance across time. She tells him to give her a ring, a phrase that, for a man from 1893, carries a different, charmingly outdated connotation. When Wells finally confronts Stevenson, the truth is laid bare in a chilling, philosophical declaration. Stevenson, the Victorian monster, finds his true calling in 1979. 90 years ago, I was a freak, he confesses, his voice laced with a disturbing satisfaction. Today, I'm an amateur. This statement is a horrifying indictment of modernity, suggesting that the very violence and casual disregard for life that shocked Wells has become commonplace, almost mundane. It implies that society has not progressed morally, but perhaps regressed, creating an environment where a serial killer from the past can feel not only at home, but almost understated in his depravity. This thought lingers, a dark cloud over the promise of technological advancement. Is our present merely a more sophisticated arena for our ancient vices? Wells attempts to appeal to Stevenson's reason, to his sense of belonging, urging him to recognize that they do not belong in this future. But Stevenson is beyond redemption, beyond reason. He instead attacks Wells, attempting to say, "Z, the time machine's key, the ultimate symbol of control over their shared destiny." Their struggle is interrupted by a maid, a brief, accidental interlude that allows Stevenson to flee. He escapes into the chaotic streets, only to be struck by a car in his frantic haste. Wells pursues him to the hospital, a labyrinth of modern medicine, but Stevenson, cunning and resilient, manages to evade capture, escaping injured. The hospital, perhaps overwhelmed by the bizarre circumstances, provides Wells with a callous lie: Stevenson is dead. This lie, a fleeting untruth, highlights the detachment and rapid pace of the modern world, so different from the interconnected, albeit flawed, society Wells knew. With the immediate threat seemingly neutralized, Wells reconnects with Amy, and their burgeoning romance takes root. She initiates their connection, drawn to his earnestness, his old-world charm, and the sheer, incredible story he weaves. This relationship becomes a sanctuary for Wells, a source of hope amidst his profound disappointment with the future. But Stevenson, the embodiment of evil, is not so easily dismissed. He returns to the bank, his dark suspicions turning to Amy. He believes she led Wells to him, and in a chilling display of intimidation, he frightens her into giving Wells a message. Later, he discovers her address, setting the stage for a terrifying showdown. Wells, knowing the gravity of his words, struggles to convince a highly skeptical Amy of the truth about his origins, about Stevenson, about the time machine itself. How does one convince someone of the impossible? He chooses the most direct, most audacious method. He takes her 3 days into the future. Imagine Amy's terror, her world tilting on its axis, as she witnesses a glimpse of her own impending doom. A newspaper headline screams the horrifying truth: she is the 5th victim of the San Francisco Ripper. This act of temporal tourism is not a whimsical adventure, but a desperate plea for belief, a stark confrontation with a preordained fate. This moment delves deep into the philosophical concept of free will versus determinism. If they can see the future, is it already written? Or does the very act of seeing it empower them to change it? Wells, fueled by a renewed sense of purpose and a blossoming love, persuades Amy that they must return to prevent the 4th victim's murder, and then, crucially, prevent her own. But fate, or perhaps the immutable nature of time, plays its cruel hand. Upon their return, they are delayed, arriving too late. They can do no more than phone the police, a desperate, futile gesture. When the 4th victim is found dead, Wells, the time traveler, the would-be savior, is tragically arrested and charged with the crime. The irony is bitter. The man from the past, trying to prevent a future murder, is blamed for it. Amy is left alone, vulnerable, and utterly defenseless against Stevenson. As Wells fruitlessly tries to convince the skeptical police of Amy's grave peril, she, in her terror, attempts to hide from Stevenson. The suspense is palpable, the ticking clock of destiny looming large. When the police finally investigate her apartment, they discover a woman's dismembered body. The scene is horrific, and the police, now believing Wells innocent, release a now heartbroken Wells. The weight of his failure, the presumed loss of Amy, is crushing. But in a twist that offers a glimmer of hope amidst the despair, Stevenson reveals his twisted game. He had killed Amy's coworker, the woman found in Amy's apartment, in a cruel deception. He contacts Wells, his voice dripping with malice, confirming he has taken Amy hostage and demands the time machine key in exchange for her life. The stakes could not be higher. The key, the artifact of temporal power, now becomes a bargaining chip for a human life, a poignant symbol of how technology, even one as grand as a time machine, can be reduced to a tool for the most base human desires. Stevens, on with the key in hand and Amy as his terrified insurance, intends a permanent escape, a final disappearance into the boundless expanse of time. Wells, consumed by a fierce determination, erratically drives Amy's car, pursuing them to the museum where the time machine is still on display, a silent observer of these desperate events. It is here, in the cold, sterile environment of a museum, that the final confrontation unfolds. As Wells bargains for Amy's life, a courageous act of defiance changes everything. Amy, with a surge of adrenaline and self-preservation, manages to escape Stevenson's grasp. The game has changed. With Amy free, Wells makes a desperate, irreversible choice, one that speaks volumes about the responsibility of creation and the ultimate sacrifice for justice. As Stevenson begins to activate the time machine, preparing to vanish forever, Wells removes the vaporizing equalizer. Ponder, if you will, the profound implications of this act. The equalizer, designed to keep traveler and machine on equal terms, to maintain coherence, is gone. Its removal signifies a complete dissolution of the protective field, a stripping away of the very mechanism that allowed for stable temporal transit. What happens then? The film's chilling answer: Stevenson is cast across the space-time continuum forever. This is not merely death, it is an annihilation of existence across all dimensions of time. He is not just dead, he is unexistent, dispersed into the very fabric of reality, a permanent erasure from all possible futures and pasts. It is a fate more terrifying, perhaps, than any conventional execution, a unique form of temporal justice for a man whose evil transcended his own era. The machine, however, remains anchored to the present, a testament to Wells's control. With Stevenson's terrifying reign ended, Wells informs Amy of his ultimate decision. Having witnessed the horrors and the enduring flaws of humanity in the future, having seen his utopian dreams shattered, he understands the profound danger of his invention. He must return to 1893 and destroy the machine, preventing its misuse, ensuring that such a device never falls into the wrong hands again. It is a decision born of wisdom, regret, and a deep sense of responsibility for the potentially catastrophic power he had unleashed. But Amy, courageous and deeply in love, makes her own profound choice. Knowing that she is already, legally dead, in 1979, her existence effectively erased from this time, she insists on going with him. She chooses love, chooses a life with Wells, even if it means leaving everything she knows behind and embracing an existence in a time not her own. Her decision is a powerful testament to the enduring human need for connection, for companionship, for love that transcends even the boundaries of time itself. The film concludes with a simple, poignant caption, tying the fictional narrative back to the historical figure of H.G. Wells. H.G. Wells married Amy Catherine Robbins, who died in 1927. As a writer, he anticipated socialism, global war, space travel, and women's liberation. He died in 1946. This final note brings us full circle, reminding us of Wells's true legacy, not just as an inventor of fantastical machines, but as a visionary who dared to imagine, to predict, to challenge the status quo of his own time. He anticipated so much of what we now take for granted, yet the film suggests that even his boundless intellect and hopeful spirit could not fully grasp the persistence of the human shadow, the stubborn refusal of violence, and greed to simply fade away. Time After Time is more than just a science fiction thriller. It's a profound meditation on the nature of progress, the resilience of human evil, the transformative power of love, and the weighty responsibility that comes with tampering with the very essence of existence. It asks us to consider what we truly seek in the future, and what we are willing to carry with us from the past. As we drift deeper into the night, let these thoughts gently settle in your mind. The idea of time as a river, a dimension, a fabric that can be traversed and altered. The human struggle between our highest ideals and our basest instincts. The enduring power of love to bridge divides, even those of centuries. Rest now, dear listener. Let the notion of past, present, and future gently blur into one seamless, peaceful continuum. May your dreams be filled with quiet wonder and a deep sense of tranquility. Good night.